And I just want to thank you all for joining. Hello, hello. Yeah, thank you so much for joining the No Gatekeeping Money Mindset webinar. I greatly appreciate you all. Um, I will say you are in for a treat for sure. This is a conversation, so there's going to be a lot of interaction and times that we want to hear your opinion. We want to hear your thoughts, and be sure to stay until the end because Coach Starnes has some giveaways as well as some free resources. So you're not going to want to miss that. All right. So just to introduce myself, if you do not know me, I am Martika Lee. I am the owner of Just Mind Your Biz LLC. And let me get this moving here. There we go. I'm also the founder of No Gatekeeping Entrepreneurs Community. So we are just a group of like-minded individuals hosting events like this, as well as our Entrepreneur Summit. We share knowledge and opportunities with each other, and we believe in collaboration over competition. So this is one of the events that we would like to continue to host in the future. So I want to give a couple of shout outs to some people that will be joining us later, but there were two people that assisted me with the idea for this webinar. And that was my creative director, Marcel Lamont. He's a graphic designer. He's the owner of ML Design. He's also the creative director of Just Mind Your Biz, and Sonia Davis. So hopefully they'll be joining us in soon as well. Sonia Davis, she is a business advisor and capital strategist. So she helps small businesses to be SBA ready. All right. So those are just two people that are part of the No Gatekeeping community that I told them for sure I would shout them out and giving me the idea for this webinar. So um, we'll just go ahead and get right into our guest speaker, and that is Coach Starnes. Let me tell you, Coach Starnes is phenomenal. Okay. She is not just phenomenal in her information, but very supportive in everything that I do. And I feel like that is just so important in the small business community that we have each other to be able to bounce ideas or networking for sure. A lot of the opportunities that have come my way have been because she knew somebody that knew somebody. And that's exactly what we are all about with the No Gatekeeping Entrepreneurs community. So she is a published author of financial literacy and empowerment. She's spoken at several conferences, and now she's been coined the name and known as the financial farmer for planting financial seeds for generational wealth. So I'm going to stop right there and go ahead and let's just get to the good stuff and turn it on to Miss Shatirial Starnes, known as Coach Starnes.
Thank you so much, Martika, for welcoming me here. And also, just thank you all for giving me an opportunity to be here this evening. You could have been anywhere tonight, but you chose to be here. Do you all see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes, I can see your screen good. I hope
You
everybody else
see it?
can see your screen.
Okay. So again, let me just preface this. Tonight is interactive. Also, it is a safe space. I want you to feel that you can ask questions and it is a safe space. And Martika, I forgot to ask you about this earlier, but if someone wants to share something personal and they may not feel comfortable with it being recorded, is it okay if we stop the recording and then come back on
Sure,
afterwards? Okay,
we can
because
do
again,
that.
we want to make sure we create a safe space for you all. Tonight, I want to talk to you about your money and your mindset. I'm excited to talk to you about something that affects every entrepreneur, not just your bank account, but your belief system. Today, we're going to take a deeper dive into money and mindset and how the stories that you've learned over a period of time about money actually can impact you more than you know. You might be thinking that your money is a situation with your money, but it could be your mindset that's blocking you to your inability to be able to build wealth. So here's the deal. Your mindset shapes your money decisions, and your money decisions will shape your business. Today, we're going to uncover some hidden beliefs. These are beliefs that are habits, experiences that you've had, that impact how you earn, save money, your willingness to invest or not to invest. Here's the deal. I ask you this. What if the biggest barrier to your income is the strategy? But what if it's your belief system? I want you to think about that. Type one word into the chat. How do you feel about money right now? Let's be honest. How do you feel about money? And Martika, they can even come off mute since it's a smaller group. How do you feel about money right now? Anyone want to share? Do you feel anxious? Do you feel uncertain?
Uncertain.
Uncertain. Thank you so much, Cheryl, for sharing that. Anyone else? Do you feel that you might be robbing Peter to pay Paul, or it's keeping you up at night, or some others may have a different experience. Anyway, again,
Hi.
thank you, Cheryl. I'm sorry, Mackenzie.
Hi, this is Mackenzie. I just wanted to say that it makes me excited because it allows me to maybe do things that I'm not, used to doing. I have, more opportunities, but it does make me anxious thinking about the future. So
Absolutely. And that's very common. It's very common. So today I want to talk to you about what is money mindset? What does it mean? And what is your money story? Because we all have a money story, whether we have admitted it or not. Here's the deal. Money mindset is actually your belief system about money. In actuality, it was formed in your childhood. It was shaped by your environment, people that were around you, people that may have had influence over you, and things that they may have said that you have carried along without even thinking about it. And it's reinforced by your experiences. Here's the deal. It can determine whether or not you are confident with money, whether you're anxious, whether you invest, whether you avoid money. All of these things were shaped in your childhood. I want to talk to you about something. There's something that's called the seventh generation principle. And what it says is that a Native American tribe believed that the decisions that you make today will impact your descendants 7 generations into the future. I want you to let that sit with you right now. No one can ever say that the decisions that they make do not impact other people. Now I'm going to take it a little further. My family, my third great grandparents, right after the Civil War, Lucy and Albert Baker purchased 100 acres from their owner. That 100 acres, they farmed that land. And also they brought on other people that were released from slavery and asked them to help them. It's called the Datcher Farm right outside Birmingham. That farm is still in our family, and my family has built it from 100 acres to well over 500, and then we're acquiring additional acreage. Now, I say all that to say is that my third great grandparents planted a seed right after the Civil War that is still impacting my family right now. And again, I say this, no one can ever say that the decisions that they make do not impact other people. Now, let's get into the numbers. I'm a data person. I like numbers. I used to have an old boss that says, people lie, numbers don't. Now, I don't know all about that because numbers can be skewed. Here's the deal. What I do know is this data. The median wealth gap between white and black households is $240,000. That's significant. However, 57% of Black-owned employer Black employer firms grew over 57% between 2017 and 2022. And then 28% of Black-owned firms are operating at a profit. So despite what you see on social media, despite what you see in the news or on YouTube or what have you, We are out here making moves, and this is very encouraging. I want to talk to you all about everything we're going to uncover today. Everything that you earn starts in your mind. It starts in your mind. There are some hidden patterns that may be tied directly to either how you earn or your inability to earn. It could be tied to trauma, scarcity, and inherited beliefs, which are limited beliefs. But we're going to talk about these hidden patterns. We're also going to move into what is the difference between survival and strategy mode. Because high earners, they think differently. I'm going to give you 4 money shifts. And not only that, I'm going to give you a 7-day activation plan. I'm not trying to add anything to your already busy schedule, but at the end of the day, we do have to make cognizant decisions about our business. And before I move into the next slide, I want to talk to you about ACEs, adverse childhood experiences. Many of us may have grew up in environments that were stressful, unpredictable. There may have been chaos. We may have had a family member that was battling mental illness undiagnosed. I grew up in an environment where we were faced eviction a lot. We moved around quite a bit. And these things, these experiences, we carry them into adulthood and they shape how we see money. Not only how we see money, but other areas in our life. They can create patterns like scarcity thinking, a fear of spending, fear of saving, or even avoiding opportunities, something that may come before you, an opportunity, and you may be afraid because it has transported you back to a time in your life that you were a child and you were helpless. Can anyone relate to that? Come off mute and maybe just, if you feel comfortable, share some things that may you feel like your beliefs about money that may have you still holding on to and probably didn't even realize it.
You share, I'll say like scarcity for me, like just wanting to hold on to it and knowing that money is a tool and I should be investing and all of that. And I do that, but I could do more of that if I let go of that fear of not having it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anyone else would like to share? I want to share something with you. I remember listening to Jay-Z in a interview many years ago, and the person was interviewing him, and he was sharing with them that he had told his uncle that he was going to become a millionaire. The uncle laughed, and the person that was interviewing him said, "Man, what? Are you mad at your uncle? Are you upset with him?" And he was like, "No." He said, "I wasn't," because he said he could not see that for himself. And that had no impact on me. But oftentimes I say this, and not to be negative or anything, but there might be people around you or things in your environment where people cannot see you at a certain space. But we cannot allow that to impact us. And we cannot allow that to impact us because that's their thinking, not ours. And sometimes we can take on that. Thank you so much, Martika, for sharing.
I'd like to add what Miss Felicia just put in the chat. She said, agreed, also spending more money than you make or have.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I had a young lady that I was coaching this group. And the young lady said that they grew up in extreme poverty. She said, but they always look nice and dress nice. And she grew up with her mother and her grandmother. And her mother, grandmother and her mother would say, what happens in this house stays in this house. How many can relate? Put an emoji or something in the house, and because we say that in our culture. And so she said we would not have anything in our house, not food or whatever. But when we stepped outside, we looked good. So she said, I carried that into my adulthood. She said, I am in so much debt. I'm struggling. She said, when I go out, because I'm so uh, wound up with keeping up appearances, she said, I'll buy all of my friends or all of us them food and drinks and knowing that I can afford it. The next month, I'm struggling to pay my utilities, my rent, and all these different things. She was literally in tears when I talked to her about this because she was like, that is me. So, ouch, if these issues are not resolved, I call them, they're in the root cause issues, they will come out at some point in time. I want you to know that your spending is not random. There are some emotional drivers, and there are also some external drivers. And these things can trigger you. Stress, being stressed out and overwhelmed. Celebration or reward seeking. People pleasing. I'm going to repeat that again. People pleasing. Martika, I know we got some folks in here that are givers.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the deal. Takers do not have boundaries. I'm going to repeat that. I'm going to shout it. Takers do not have boundaries. And just because you say no to someone, it does not mean that you don't love them. Sometimes we confuse saying no with somebody with meaning with that we don't love them, and that is not the case. Identity and self-worth gaps. Do you know that maybe what you're charging in your business might be how you feel about yourself?
Okay, that's good. If nobody's gonna say anything, that's good. You're right.
Baby, if you are struggling with self-esteem or have some self-esteem issues, I'm telling you, if it could be a direct connection to you undercharging because you do not feel worthy and you don't recognize your own value. External drivers, what are some of those? Social media and comparison, holidays and culture, spending money that we don't have, going to places and trips and things like that, lifestyles, all of these things. Can anyone relate? Because I know I can relate to a lot of these. Come off mute or drop something in the chat. Help me out here. Because
Let's see.
Yes, I think probably all of them have influenced my spending at some stage of life or even currently.
absolutely, Mackenzie. And thank you so much for your transparency. Anyone else?
Let's see. And if you don't want to come off mute, you can definitely just put it in the chat. Let's see
Absolutely.
if we have anybody else.
I'll add something I think I observed growing up from my parents is the stress and overwhelm and rewarding yourself that way.
Yes.
And I notice I do that with food, shopping. I mean, it could be anything, but I absolutely saw my parents, do that when I was a child.
Absolutely. And what happens is that, Mackenzie, when we're, again, that's what I talked about, how your environment can shape things. A lot of time, oftentimes, we don't know. We have no idea. I just thought that that was normal. I remember, now this would date me, and I'm cool with that. I remember when I was younger, and this is not a slight against anyone or whatever. It's just life. Okay. I remember the bill collector would call and my mom would put me on the phone and say she not here. Just different things like that. And what happens is that it's easy to grow up thinking those things are the norm. And until there's like a paradigm shift or you're exposed to something different, you will take on those patterns and those habits, and then you will pass them down to your children. So again, there has to be a paradigm shift. Here's the deal. There are the quiet thoughts. There are quiet thoughts that sabotage your success. I'm not good with money. I don't feel like I'll ever be rich. I can never get ahead. Oftentimes, those are things that we talk about, we think about. Here's the deal. Even though your past may explain your patterns, it doesn't have to define them. Trauma, scarcity, and chaos, that may have been a norm. And I'm not saying that that's the case for everything. Here's these things. Scarcity can create fear. Chaos will block your ability to be able to plan, save, or invest. But here's the deal. Awareness is everything. We got to be aware of those things. Sometimes, I'll be frank with you, there are some thought patterns. There is some limiting beliefs that we have about money and about ourselves and that are not true. I remember having a conversation with a client, and she said something to the effect of about herself and with money. And I said, who told you that? And she had to think about it. And I can't remember if she said like a relative or something like that told her, whatever. But oftentimes we are led by emotions. And a lot of times, emotions and feelings, and those things are not necessarily the truth because they're familiar. And just because something feels familiar to you doesn't mean it's the truth. Some of these stories, they were inherited, but I encourage you to challenge them. If a thought come up in your head, or if you say something negative about yourself, especially as it relates to money, who told me that? Where did I pick that up from? Start asking questions. Again, can anyone share, anyone feel like sharing, or something that a limiting belief that you grew up believing, and then you have to step back and say, you know what? That's not even true.
Coach Starnes, are you able to remove the box in the middle? I got a message saying that it's blocking the screen for some of
Oh,
our
okay.
attendees.
I'll
If you
just
could.
I'll just cut it. I'll just take it off altogether. Sorry about
Okay,
that.
perfect.
Mhm. Okay. And again, don't feel like you have to but these are some beliefs that are quietly costing you money. Type yes in the chat if you said anything like this, either aloud or silently. Money is the root of all evil. First of all, that's not biblical. It's the love of money. We all know that. Oh, I'll figure it out later. I don't have to deal with it right now. I'm just not good with money. People like me can never build wealth. I don't deserve to be wealthy. I don't deserve joy. Rich people are greedy. Every belief that you don't question can become a barrier that you can't break. And again, these are limiting beliefs, and often they are not true. Is there something that you heard that you while you were growing up from either family members or friends or maybe church members?
Mackenzie says, I'm not good with money is the one for her.
Hear that all the time. We hear that a lot. Anyone else? Right.
Oh, that's good. That's a good one. Miss Felicia said, you cannot take it with you. I've heard that many times.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh my gosh. You oh all the time. Yeah. What is the thing that they say like two things you always leave with is debt and something else?
Mm.
Does you know remember that one? I can't remember how that was. Here's the deal. Black-owned employer firms grew 57% between 2017 and 2022. The opportunity is real, and the capacity to capture this, that's what we're going to build today. Now, let's talk about survival mode and strategy mode. You can't scale from survival. You have to make the transition to strategy. And let me say this, my friend all the time, Mashika Turner, she's a boutique accounting services. That's what she offers. She says hustles do not get access to capital. And I want to add a little bit to that. You cannot pass down a hustle to your future generations. I also want to tell you that survival mode is reactive. You feel like you're always behind the 8 ball. You're hustling, undercharging, avoiding your numbers. We can't live like that. And that's why I talked about underpricing your value. Really be mindful of what you're charging. I'm going to show you this. Say, for instance, if you're making, you have a lipstick brand. What people don't realize is that you need to do a cost analysis of your services, especially if you are providing like some type of service or something along those lines. One, how long does it take you to make it? This tube of lipstick, you're going to need the tube. You're going to need the ingredients. It needs to be packaged. All of those things that you have to think about. All of those things that you probably not even cognizant of, but that it goes into making a product or service. And you need, when you are putting together your cost analysis, you need to find out what your true cost is, because you might be charging $10 for this tube of lipstick, but it may cost you $9 to make it. And if you're not aware of that, it's going to impact your bottom line. And in actuality, after you do your cost analysis, you should be charging $25. So that's just a little side tip. Know your costs. Strategy mode is the complete opposite. You're going to know your numbers. You're making intentional decisions. You're looking at data. Before you make moves, you're looking at data. And that's the example that I just used here. That's one of the examples. Tracking. Are you tracking things weekly? Are you planning? Are you coming up with a plan? Because oftentimes it's easy to confuse busy with being productive. And those are two different things. And strategy is that you're building for margin. So there has to be a shift. The goal today is to help you shift from survival mode to strategy. Does anyone have any questions? There's 4 money shifts that we're going to talk about. One is know your numbers. This clarity is actually going to create control. The next thing that I'll need you to do is that we're going to talk about is mastering your cash flow. Your cash flow is the lifeline of your business. Maximizing your profits. Profit is a decision. And then you're going to make smart money decisions. Every dollar needs to be tracked in what you get when you are making decisions. This is it. Let's go shift by shift, because clarity again brings confidence. Okay. And okay. First thing is that you got to know your numbers. Oftentimes it's uncomfortable for us to get into the weeds, but I'm telling you, it's going to make the difference. And it's almost freeing. You need to know your revenue. You need to know your expenses. You need to know what your profit and your cash flow is. It's going to help you make better decisions. Most entrepreneurs avoid these numbers because they get afraid. I don't want to know. I don't want to do it. But knowing your numbers is going to be the first step to taking control. Okay. Can we launch we got a little poll for you. Can we launch the poll?
Yep, I will launch it now.
Yes,
There we
yes.
go. It is up now.
Okay. Can you read off the poll?
Yes, for sure. So it says, what percentage of your monthly revenue should be profit? And so if you're not able to see the poll, you can always type it in the chat also. But if you're able to see the poll, that'd be great. You can click on one of the answers. So that's 10%, 25%, 30%, or 40%. Which one do you think should be your monthly revenue?
You
Your
want to give a
profit.
drum roll?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's see, let's see.
Let's see what we got.
Got about 20 more seconds. We got people still answering. Okay, good.
Okay, okay.
All right. Okay. All right. It's shifting a little bit, almost at the end. Got another 10 seconds to get your answer in. All right. So let's see here. So I'm going to share the results here. So it looks like most people are saying 30%. Monthly revenue profit should be 30%.
Well, thank you for doing that poll. But here's the deal. Let's just say if you make actually the correct answer is 10% for profit. Okay. So let me give you an example. Let me give you a scenario. If you made $10,000 one month, 30% should be allocated to owner's pay. Another 30% should be allocated towards your operating expenses, 10% towards profit, 20% for taxes, and then another 10% towards like your buffer. Is that surprising to any of you? And then also share with us why you decided 30% should be for profit. And you can come off mute.
Let me see if we have anyone here.
And this is something that's uncomfortable, getting into the mindset of paying yourself first.
Nothing in the chat yet, but I will
That's
say,
fine.
I think that from my experience working with clients, they are uncomfortable paying themselves first. And because they don't
Absolutely.
know their numbers, the fear of, taxes and insurance and all
Yeah.
the fees that comes to, licensing and all of that, they're so afraid. So no, they definitely don't pay themselves that 30%, nor do they allocate those funds like you just said. So I think that, and we got one person, Marcel of ML Design, he said 30% for profit seems like the logical and safe choice for business
Yeah.
long-term health. And that's, I'll let you talk about, yeah, it's logical and safe.
Yes. But the thing, and also, Marcel, that's a very good point that you brought up. You're right. It feels logical and safe. However, you got to pay yourself because you still have bills and things like that. If that's, think about it. If your business is, if you're an entrepreneur, a full-time entrepreneur, you don't have like a 9 to 5 or another stream of income. If you don't pay yourself in terms of the owner's pay, how will your expenses get paid? If you're funding your profits before you pay yourself. And again, you can always tweak those numbers, don't get me wrong, but 30% does feel really nice to be able to put that into profit. But you got to pay yourself first, and you got to pay your operating expenses for your business.
We have one request that says, can you break down the percentages again?
Absolutely. So if you made, we're going to use 10,000 just for, because it's easy to use. Owner's pay, 30%. So that's $3,000. Operating expenses, another 30%. That's $3,000. So you're already at 6,000. Profit, 10%. So that's 10% of 1,000. So that's $1,000. And then taxes, allocating 20%. I actually allocate a little bit more. So 20% of 10,000 is $2,000. And then having that buffer, like a little nest egg, 10%. So that's another 1,000. So again, operating expenses and owner's pay It makes up 60% of your revenue, what's coming in every month. And then you allocate 20%. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I was about to say, can we address this? Is really good. Miss Felicia says she was thinking that it would be lower, but setting up this planner system is intimidating.
Absolutely. Why is it intimidating? And Miss Felicia, if you want, you can drop it in the chat and we're going to go through the slides, okay? So revenue is going to tell you the truth. You got to know exactly what's coming in weekly. Also, tracking every dollar and calculate it. Don't estimate, because if you're not doing that, if you're estimating, you don't know what your true numbers are. Master your cash flow. Let's look at a 90-day view. What's coming in, what's coming out. So track your expenses across a quarter. What is owed? What's going in? What's coming out? I went through like my subscription services and I was spending money. It didn't, I had different apps or different things that were doing the same thing. And it's because I did not know my numbers. Separate your cash from your profit. You can be profitable on paper, but you can be broke in your account. Protect your runway. Try to collect at least 3 months of operating cash minimal. Cash flow is the lifeline of your business. The third money shift is that maximize your profit. Okay. Here's the deal. Look at your lowest price offer that's your ceiling. You're going to have to lift it. Look at this economy, what's going on with inflation and things like that. And if you are still charging what you did, amounts in your business, what you did 6 months, a year, or even 6 months ago, there's going to have to be some change, because it's costing you more at this time with everything going on than what it probably did 6 months ago. I would even say over the last 3 months. Cut back on these silent leaks. How many subscriptions and fees and expenses that you are paying out? My phones are actually under my business. And I have 3 lines. I probably pay less than most of you that got 2. Going back through your insurance, going back through your cell phone plan. We got to look at these things with scrutiny, because the reality is that we're probably paying too much. Build for resist for retention. What is something that you can offer your current clients instead of going out and having to attract more? Now, every dollar should have a job. Someone once said that money is like unruly kids. Either you're going to tell them what to do, or it's going to tell you what to do. Every dollar coming in and out of your account, your business, should have an assignment. Is it for taxes? Is it for expansion? Is it for savings? Is it for operating expenses? You should know you should have those things. And if it's not you, I always recommend maybe getting a separate account for your taxes. But if that's overwhelming for people, but having everything in one account could be confusing. And it could lead you to believe that you actually have more money than what you have. What's your tax strategy? What type of entity do you have? Are you meeting with an accountant? Or even if you don't have like an accountant on hand, is there someone, have you scheduled an appointment with Martika? And just because she does strategy and she is fire with it, to help her come up with a strategy, because will help you to come up with a strategy before you get to April 15th. And investments. What are some things that you can do that you can receive money in your sleep? I have a book. It's called Navigating the Credit Repair Maze. I wrote the book one time, but I can still sell it. I can still sell it. That's money that I could be making in my city. So what are some things that you can do to diversify or add some different things that will not cause you additional stress or additional time? Because we all have the same amount of time. Anyone have any questions about those 4 money strategies? And again, you're going to get this slide deck. One of the things that successful entrepreneurs, they use money differently. They come up with a strategy. They delegate, they automate, they outsource. Martika, I have a list of resources that I'm going to provide. And if you could drop that link in there, and even if people signed up with emails, we can get that to you. Those resources, we're going to give you links for virtual assistants. You benefit from a virtual assistant in your business. At minimum, you're paying $8 an hour. We're going to give you some resources about a loan. A zero interest loan. We're going to give you some resources about organizations where you can get help for free on how to about your business, as well as if you need personal credit, you need credit repair or money management, how to create a spending plan. I call it spending plan instead of a budget. What are some things that you can leverage? Not just your income, and also successful entrepreneurs, they build assets. That is critical. Again, I say you cannot pass down a hustle. This shift is more than income. It's you developing a different relationship with the income that you have. Let's look at the median household of wealth in America. We talked about this. This is why mindset is huge. I want to ask you before we move on, does anyone have any questions? What is one shift that which shift is your weakest right now? Or what is one belief that you're ready to release today? Let's take 60 seconds. Either come off mute or pop it in the chat.
So we have one, I think this is what she's saying is her weakest shift right now, setting up systems. That's what Miss Felicia says.
Setting up systems for your business, like automation and things like that.
Yes, she
Absolutely. Systems is I use app. I use ClickUp, and ClickUp is really helpful to set up, to automate a lot of things, to set things up. Absolutely, I agree with you 100%, 100%. But again, Miss Felicia, you might be able to hire a virtual assistant and to have them set up systems for you, and you pay them, and they can be your back office. Thank you for sharing that.
That is very true. And then Sherelle says, how do you build assets?
What is your business, Sherelle?
She's a photographer.
She's a photographer. Okay. Have there's different things that you can do, but it's something that you can teach. You can have you can start a subscription service. You can start a subscription service. You can write ebooks. You can have digital products. It all depends on not necessarily your comfort lane, because entrepreneurship, I don't know if anybody else believe this or experience this, but it can stretch you, as it should. If you can relate, please raise your hand or do something. It will stretch you, but entrepreneurship will stretch you, and it's going to get you out of your comfort zone. So I something that I did to build assets is that I have a home. However, I move out of my home and I rent. And I'm renting, somebody else is paying my mortgage, but I'm making enough profit. I did the numbers, I had to get into the weeds. I'm making a profit that I'm still making a profit, even though I rent, but somebody else is paying my mortgage. So we have to sometimes think outside of the box. Your ability to build assets and wealth may not look like Martika's. It may not look like Miss Felicia's. You have to do what works best for you.
Yeah. We have a few more comments. Mackenzie
Yes.
says strategy is her biggest weakness.
Strategy. Okay. So I
And
got a resource for you.
and then let's see. Marcel says you mentioned having phones under your business. Would you do this across the board? So, i.e., light bill, internet, other utilities, when you run a business through your home.
I am not an accountant or tax person. Martika, that may be a question for you. What would you suggest
So
in terms of like when they're writing things like getting the utilities? I don't know if you are you speaking of getting utilities in the name of your business in your home?
I think that's exactly what he's speaking to. So it's a very tricky thing when you work from home
Yeah.
and you get the home itself, if it's not owned by the business or leased by the business, then when you get all of the utilities that are in your personal name, but I'm sorry, when you get all the utilities in the business, but the home itself is in your personal, it creates this conflict that's very tricky when it comes to the IRS.
Mm.
Of course, there are expenses that you can write off when you have a home business that are allocated to the amount of money that you make in total. So if you still have a 9 to 5 and you still have your home business, then you pretty much you proportion those expenses depending on the revenue that you make. But that's the tricky part is it can become a red flag if you were to do that in totality with all of your utilities. So I hope that answers your question.
Awesome. That's good. Good. So I'm going to give you a 7-day wealth activation plan. Review your numbers. Day 2, raise one price, even if it's by 10%, because more than likely it's been underpriced for a long time. What is one expense that you can eliminate? It may be a subscription service or anything like uh I have Prime. That's it. I don't have Netflix. I don't have all of that stuff. I don't need it. Haven't had it for years. Schedule your money meeting. What do I mean by that? Getting into the weeds, knowing what's coming in your business, out your business, what is going to come 6 months down the road. Do you need to go to a conference? Rewrite one belief. Write it down. We got to make the message, we got to make it plain. Move just $1, whether it's into a savings account or if it's in your tax for your taxes, if it's for your profit, if it's for that buffer, move $1. And then I want you to decide on who are you becoming? Who is the earner that you're growing into? How are you thinking? Can you actually see yourself having a $50,000 month continuously? Take these little steps. Here's the deal. These small, consistent actions, they're going to build into something bigger that's going to impact your finances later on. Here's the deal. Your mindset, let's see, I'm trying to find you guys. Your mindset can keep you broke or it can make you unstoppable. The choice is yours. You have a choice, a decision to make this evening. And I want you all to think about this. What is some of the first steps what are you willing to do? What is something that you're willing to lay down? What is something that you're willing to change today that's going to help you get closer to your financial goals? Remember what I said about the seventh generation principle. The decisions that you make today will impact your future generations. Thank you all for this evening. Feel free to
Thank
come
you
off
so
mute,
very
share
much.
your thoughts.
We do have a couple of questions and comments if you don't mind if I read them to you. So
Absolutely.
let's see. So let me scroll up here because we had a couple while you were talking there. So one came from Sherelle. She said, if you have multiple businesses, would you put both in the same account or keep them separate?
Definitely separate. And the reason being, and again, Martika can speak to this because this is her wheelhouse. You have to keep them separate. Here's the deal. At some point, you may decide that you want to get access to capital and they're not trying to sort through that mess. You need to keep your personal and your business separate. And if you have multiple businesses, please keep them separate because even when it comes down to filing taxes, that stuff is a nightmare for accounting, for your tax preparer.
Can I add something to that? This is
Please.
relevant to what's going on right now. So, I follow what's going on with Uncle Nearest. I've been a fan of Fawn Weaver for a while, but of course, the company is in receivership for their actions, for their money making, for their money decisions. And one of the things that the judge completely really came down hard on the
Yeah.
owner and the executives of the businesses. They received a loan and that loan was put into their they have several accounts, of course, it's a large company, but they received a loan and it was put into the business account of Uncle Nearest. That money was then moved out of that account into a smaller account that's
Yes.
owned just by the CEO, Fawn Weaver. And though they couldn't prove that she used that money for anything outside of the business, she would slowly but surely put that money back into the main business account. But the very action of her mixing the two business funds,
Yep.
it was the judge's like main decision in the end to keep the business in receivership, which means they can't make their own decisions for the company anymore. And ultimately they might be forced to sell.
So,
So
yeah,
yeah, so mixing those accounts and that's a huge deal, making sure that, like you said, you know the numbers and that your record keeping is structured.
absolutely. Thank you for that. Mhm.
Yeah, Deontay says structure is his weakness. He built a business from scratch and went with what feels right. Now he's ready to scale
Mm,
and doesn't know where to start.
mm. Can you pull up those resources and also, and if you have to leave, we completely understand. But if we could pull up those resources, because those resources can really help a great deal with a lot of this. Okay.
Yeah. And I'll be sure to send that out in an email to everyone also.
Do you mind opening it up and sharing it so I could just go over it
Well,
real
yeah, I
quick?
can do that.
Mhm.
Sure.
Anyone else have any questions or comments? Again, like we said, this is a safe space.
I just want to comment. Can you guys hear me?
We can, yes.
Okay, hold on. I'm using my daughter's technology here. So let me turn this around. Okay. Um, Coach Starnes, and Martika, thank you for the invite. This has been very insightful for me.
Thank you.
I have taken a lot. I haven't been very um, interactive because I am just starting a business. I just received my commission for Notary Public, and I am, in the process of getting my supply. So I'm building. One of the things that I really took away from here is I am starting intentional versus starting survival mode. That was my biggest, takeaway from here, this session today. So thank you for inviting me. I've really enjoyed it. It's been very insightful. Coach Stars, I was trying to tell Martika yesterday, I think I've attended another webinar from you. It's been some years ago.
It
My
probably was
friend,
through Boom and Black Business Boom.
that didn't sound familiar to me. My best
Mm.
friend is Kanya Hollins or Kanya Williams.
Yes,
And I
I
think I
know
met you through
Kanye. Yes,
her. Yes. So I think I
yes,
attended
I'm
another one.
sure. Yes,
So
yes.
your I can't remember what the session was because it's been years ago, but they're very insightful. So
Thank you,
thank you.
Nikki.
And thank you,
Thank you.
ladies, for inviting me.
And Nikki, also look up on Facebook Notary Nerds. My friend Monica Dunn, it was Water, but Dunn, that is her group. That is very insightful for people that are starting out. And it's called Notary Nerds on
Notary
Facebook.
nerds.
And
Thank you. I
she's
will.
black, is black and woman owned. She's a black woman and black woman and owned by her. And very insightful, helping people. And also, there are so many opportunities for you all that you could really diversify your income. So please
Yes,
look it up.
yes,
Yes.
yes,
Mhm.
I will. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Can you make it just a little bit bigger?
Sure.
Uh,
Let's see here.
mentorship, SCORE. I don't know if you all are familiar with SCORE, but SCORE is a national organization and it provides mentors across the country. You can actually, and that's the link. These links are, you can double click on that link. It'll take you to SCORE. You can read about SCORE and you can find the mentor across there in all 50 states. And you can look for it, what specifically you're needing. They'll assign you a mentor, and then that mentor can help you guide you through some things as well. And again, the mentors are people that have either are retired or have had successful businesses and ran them. So look and see. It could be, you could do either by your industry, or it may be something specific that you're needing, but you'll be assigned one mentor. Freelance services, Fiverr. I had my book design, I had my website design on Fiverr at a very low cost. There's the link there. Personal money management and business consulting, Operation Hope. There's two different links. One is for your business and one is for credit and money management. These are free services. Please take advantage of this. I wish things like this was in existence when I started. Okay. Double click on the link. Sharon Turnage is a personal friend of mine, and she's on the personal side. She can help you with creating a budget. She can help you with your credit repair. If there's some things that need to be disputed, she'll go through your credit report with you and help you out on that for free. Virtual assistants, Dilab Digitals, and Pineapple Staffing. Uh, those have been vetted. Those are uh, agencies that we have, that my and friends of mine have used for a. You can hire a virtual assistant to do some of those things where you're working on the business. You can have them working in the business. Now you'll have to train them in everything, and these are people from like the Philippines and things like that. But oftentimes they are really good at what they do. And the last thing that I want to talk to you about is a small business loan. I'm also a consultant with Black Business Booming University with Danielle McGee Gibson, and she has a Kiva loan. Kiva is an organization, and they are offering zero. It's crowdfunding. Remember I talked about getting outside of your comfort zone. You can get up a 0% interest loan with up to $15,000. No interest loan is not driven by your credit score and things of that sort. You can even be a startup. So to learn more about crowdfunding, because that means that you have to reach out to folks and ask folks to give you money as well, and then they'll do a match. But it's a really good product and service. So Martika is going to send that to you all. Any questions? We
Yes.
don't want to hold you all too long.
Yeah, I want to be respectful of everyone's time. Can you let them know how can they reach you? Social media, email, all of that good stuff.
You can reach me at win@coachstarnes.com. And also, let's see, I am giving away a book. Let's see, who was the first person that logged in?
It was Jimmy. He had to leave a little early though.
Okay. You make sure that I have Mr. Jimmy's email address, and
Yes.
I'll reach out to him, and I'm going to give him my book. It's called Navigating the Credit Repair Maze. That book is it's shows you how to repair your own credit. It's not a lot of there's not a lot of words in it or anything like that. But what you can do is you can with that book, and it's over 20 dispute letters in that book, and it walks you through how to go about cleaning up your credit. I also put in my website as well and email
All right.
address.
All right. Well, thank you so very much. I greatly
Thank
appreciate
you.
you. This has been absolutely phenomenal. I took notes and all of that. So,
Thank you.
I'm sorry that, there are so many that missed it, but we are going to post it onto our YouTube page, and then I'll be sharing some good nuggets and stuff like that across social media. Thank you so much again. Thank you
Thank
everybody for
you.
attending, and you all have a wonderful night.
Thank you all. Bye bye.
Bye.